We're using that old standby bread and toast recipe. In the milk, I added probably a 1/4 cup of the peach juices, just for some extra peachy flavor. Scald the milk and melt that butter in it, and then we're going to let it cool. This will probably be the last time I go over this recipe. I'll have it attached from now on. So we're going to put it in a separate bowl and add the sugar and the yeast at this point. 1/3 cup of sugar with 2 teaspoons of yeast. That yeast will eat off the sugar, and proofing happens when you see that actually happening. I wanted to show you here, if you want to leave out the butter, you can use coconut oil and get a good coconut flavor. There's the frothing, the proofing of the yeast. You can also leave these eggs out, but if you choose to use them, this is when they go in. Whip them in the corner before you incorporate it into your initial mix. Then we're ready to use the flour. I'm starting with 4 cups. I add 2 of those cups before I put in the salt. You want to have some of it in there to buffer the salt. The salt halts the amount of growth that the yeast can do. So I like to make sure that the sweet flour is in there, a little bit of it, before I put in 2 teaspoons. I'm pretty good by sight. I'm telling you, and in the recipe below, you'll see it's 2 teaspoons of salt. And we're using a little over 6 cups of flour. You just keep taking it off the sides, get the flour coating as many sides of the batter as possible, because then it doesn't take as long, and you can do it all by hand. So I'm putting that in, and you see how I fold it in. I cut it in, and I'll be doing this a little bit more as our dough gets a little closer to being where we want it. Don't forget, you can use your food processor to make this. I enjoy doing it by hand. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, go ahead and do that now. I use this bread recipe often for a lot of different things when I'm making a dough recipe. And it's so close to challah bread. And I don't mean challah. I'm incorporating that last cup of the 6 cups, cutting it in both directions and turning and flipping, getting all that dough off the sides of the bowl, getting it closer and closer to being able to turn out onto the cutting board. But you can do this whole process in your food processor. I just kind of like to get a really good feel for this dough. This dough, I'm not adding as much flour as you can because I want it a lot more tender. I don't press it deeply because I'm making more of a cake bread as we're doing Danish. Like I said, this is a very similar recipe. We just always make it a little bit different. My hands are clear. And I'm going to add more and fold and knead. And the softness, maintain that softness so you get less dense bread and more of a cake bread. This is how I like to do it. If you have a different way, please let me know in the comments down below. Take that and that and that. I love this dough. Now it's ready to rise. We're going to put it right back in that same bowl so we don't have to mess up another bowl. I'm using ghee. I want this loaf to stay very buttery. I'm going to toss it in there, get it coated, put a little over the top, and pat it. Now you want to tuck it in. Put that film up against it. Just keep sticking to me. Let go. You're going to refrigerate this and do a cool rise. While the dough is behaving in the refrigerator, we're going to go ahead and make the cream cheese recipe. We need a stick of cream cheese, egg, powdered sugar, a lemon, and vanilla. Take that egg and whip it up right next to that really nice, warm tepid cream cheese, a teaspoon of vanilla. Mix that up into the egg. We're going to save the lemon for last. We don't want any curdling to happen. This is a nice arm workout as well. I'm going to suggest go ahead and do this in your food processor. You are sure to get all the little lumps out. Adding that powdered sugar takes a lot of the lumps out of the cream cheese, and you can get it nice and smooth. At the end, you're going to go ahead and squeeze in about a half a teaspoon of the lemon. It makes the flavor of the whole cream cheese pop. Go ahead and pull that out of the refrigerator, and it hasn't risen a whole lot, and that's okay. Again, we don't want to build up a gluten-y bread. You see, when I turn it out, it's pretty hard, but I want to cut it into, at the very least, 12 pieces. But make them whatever size suits you and or your company. I do like to square it off a little bit. It helps me to try to get them to be equal. You want them equal in a way as best you can so they bake equally all at the same time. See, even though I cut it, I go ahead and still adjust. There are so many different ways you can utilize this bread dough. What would you do? Let me know in the comments down below. I just know anytime I took treats to someone's house with a variation of this dough, if you hang in there till the end, you will get to see one of the favorite variations of this bread is. Just remember, perfectly even is overrated. Everybody has a different idea about size, but now that you have them all rolled, separate the sizes. You're going to lay them out specifically on a prepared tray. I like to use spray because it gets a good even coating. The bigger, larger bits are going to be on the edges because they cook faster. The smallest ones you want in the center. You do want to space them out as best you can because we will be pressing them down in the middle and making a pool. But we're going to let them sit just to get room temperature. Pick your fruits. I did blackberries, blueberries, peaches, and raspberries. Make the pool with your fingers. Just press it in. You want to get it nice and even and have a lip at the end so when you fill it, nothing rolls over. Here you might be pulling them up and spacing them. That is okay. It's not against the rules. You're making your rules. You can have happy accidents. I think you've heard that before. Spread it out evenly, then pick how you want to put the fruits down. Do what you like. I think next time I do this, I'm going to put the fruit down first and then put the cream cheese over the fruit. This is a really wonderful project to do with your children or your grandchildren. My grandchildren, for instance, just love playing with dough. And of course, it doesn't always end up in the oven, but trust me, that's a good thing. Look at this. I'm going to get exotic, and I'm going to mix those berries. I probably should have put some peach in there too. Magic. They are ready to sit for about 20 minutes and then go into the oven. They get baked at 350 for half an hour. It's good to hang out. It's great aromatherapy. This is what you want to see when they're done. I hope you can see how moist the bread or cake looks. Check out these 2 videos for some more yummy recipes. Thanks for watching. Ciao. I didn't forget your bonus. With the extra dough, I did a slice of tomato, chopped up ham, and cheese.